Hello, everyone. Welcome back to yet another political episode. We are back, and today it seems it's more realistic now, more than ever. Donald Trump is on a great pathway to 270 electoral votes. All the left wingers are laughing, ha 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 ha, because they know that Kamala Harris is in the polls. Keep in mind, the left wingers were the original characters that rejected the polls in the early of the year. They said, ha ha, there's no way Donald Trump's going to win. The polls don't matter. Polls don't mean anything. These are exact quotes the Democrats said, okay? And they clearly, honestly, are more out of it than they think, because now out of the sudden they're saying the polls matter, the polls are right. And really, it's just a lot of people, even Democrats like Nate Silver and even the Democrat Party themselves, are like, you know what, it doesn't look right. I mean, it doesn't seem right. Out of the sudden, we just got out of his 2 assassination attempts, and then just like that, Democrats are favored to win. There's something not right, and Democrats are worried that a 2016 could possibly happen. They took a look at 2022 and see how bad the polls were in 2022. Yikes. They don't want that to happen to them, right? And it already happened to them in a presidential year, 2016. And it's going to happen to them. And I'm going to explain to you why. Yesterday we said, you know what, the current polling situation, which is this, right? I believe this is what the average is telling us. This is the average. This is pretty much the best Kamala Harris will do in a nutshell, because usually the Electoral College polling favors Democrats every election cycle. Because, like I said last night, which I released that video this morning, in case you didn't know, the 2020 average said North Carolina, Georgia, Arizona, Florida would go for Joe Biden, 300 some electoral votes. That only was half or mostly correct. Arizona went to Joe Biden, and Georgia went to Joe Biden, but not North Carolina and not Florida. Florida was predicted to go to Joe Biden, but much more than Georgia and North Carolina combined. And that was wrong, definitely wrong. And so was North Carolina, okay? So it's pretty much guaranteed that this isn't going to be the electoral map. It's usually, seeing how bad the polls were, and we know the polls are going to be off, and I would be surprised if the polls weren't off, because let's keep in mind, not only did we go through a huge time loop of events for the very big dramatic events, from the horrible debate of Joe Biden to an assassination attempt, but we got rid of the original Democratic nominee and replaced him with another Democratic nominee. You would think that wouldn't screw up the polling, and out of the sudden we're expecting this to be the exact election result. Well, to be honest, Democrats could say, well, we don't expect this to be the exact election result. I've seen Democrats saying they expect Kamala Harris to win Arizona, North Carolina, and Georgia, 200, 300 and some electoral votes. And I am going to tell them it's not going to happen. Dream on. I know CNN said this is a possible map if Democrats overperform, but it's not going to happen, because we got to remember, Democrats are expected to be somewhat difficult. It's going to be difficult for them, more difficult for them than Trump, because they are battling in a political environment that is very, very toxic, much more toxic than the Republicans' environment in 2020, because at least in 2020, Trump made some accomplishments. Why am I? It seems like I'm being favorable to Trump. We know, however, Donald Trump made some accomplishments, like for foreign policy. Democrats could come. We know straight out things were better under Trump. We had a great economy. We had a good military and good foreign relations with our enemies. Okay, what accomplishments did Biden do? oh, Bidenomics, they'll say 81 million or whatever, how many million jobs, which don't even exist. Those were just federal government created jobs. Yeah. And you wonder why Bidenomics is just so unpopular. So I'm sorry. It's the theory that Democrats are going to suddenly flip North Carolina out of a historic and unpopular tenure is not going to happen. North Carolina is going Republican. I'm saying Georgia's going Republican. Wisconsin, Arizona, because these states are barely tipping in favor for they barely tipped in favor for Democrats in a year that was supposed to be their best year because Trump bad. The media did a really good job painting Trump as a fascist, a dictator. And you would expect these states, especially Wisconsin, which was a Democrat stronghold for a while, to go for Biden by a lot, but it didn't. It barely went for him by a point. So why do you think Wisconsin would go trend leftward, even though the Democrat approval there has been bonkers? Sure, Democrats won some elections there in the midterms, but that was the midterms. Barely anyone showed up. The pro-abortion base showed up because, once again, that was the rallying issue. Will they show up again? I bet they will. But then again, Republicans and moderates and every other type of voter should show up too, because this is a presidential election, not a midterm year. So we don't really have to worry about turnout. I'm expecting turnout to be pretty popular. Yes, the pro-abortion base, it might not be as strong as it was in 2022. That's my theory. Because if it was stronger, I mean, it could have. I think it rebunked a little bit. It went back up a little bit, seeing that we got a woman now who promises to bring back Roe v. Wade. But guess what? It's not going to happen, right? It's not going to happen. How are you going to bring back Roe v. Wade? You can't. You won't. Because in a lot of Americans should be asking themselves, why don't you bring it back now? They can't. Why don't you restack the court now? No, because they want to run on an issue like Democrats accuse Republicans of. They're running on an issue, abortion, which they don't care about abortion. They care about the issue to get votes. So that's something to really, really remember. So we have two swing states specifically. And that is the states of North Carolina and Pennsylvania. Despite being in the hands of Kamala Harris, while North Carolina, I believe, is still Republican, we're going to take a look at those states today. Republicans are killing it with early voting. And we're going to take a look. We're going to update our predictions. We've been taking a look at swing states a lot, and every day we do a prediction update because every day there's some sort of new poll that drops. Like I put down Harris. Because every day there's some sort of new poll, some sort of statistical graph that drops. Taking a look at Pennsylvania, sure, yeah, you have Democrats leading by here. Oh yeah, this one's not going to be included. You'll see this is way out of the margin of error here. And yeah, real clear, Harris is leading by 0.6. Like, seriously. And yeah, it seems Harris is only leading by 1.5. Going back to 2020, you'll see Harris, Biden won by 1.1. And there's no surprise here, but we're just going to say it looks the same as 2020, like we said yesterday. Harris, I would say, and then again, in my personal prediction, this is the forecast, our little satellite time lapse here. This is what the RCP or the average is saying it's going to look like. I doubt it's going to look like this. I think, you know what, if it looks like this, Trump can still win. He just needs to get these red counties right here out in voting, because we can outdo these blue counties, despite Democrats holding major counties like, of course, Bucks and Dauphin counties. We obviously don't need to win these counties because Trump won the said state without carrying bucks and nothing. Sure, he didn't win a huge one, but a huge victory. But I would say partly because the reason why he won was, as you know, split tickets. Of course, split ticketing was a huge part of it. I want to see Jill Stein, 2024 Jill Stein. There we go. Because Jill Stein, who I believe is polling the best, and was kind of the main gal to blame for Trump's victory. And this is the ballot access, and this is great news for Trump. Jill Stein, who is probably the best according to all these said third-party candidates. Jill Stein, out of all the third-party candidates, is doing the best, of course, and she's probably on every most important state ballot. Pennsylvania, okay? Pennsylvania. I want to know how much she got in Pennsylvania specifically. Jill Stein won 0.81 and 49,000 votes in total. That itself helped take a lot of votes from Hillary Clinton. All that 0.81 could have went to Hillary, and there you go. She would have won the election. Really, there's no other left-wing candidate. Like, serious, you got Bernie Sanders as a write-in. You got 6,000 people writing him in. But I would say that was the main contributor to Trump's victory. It was mainly Green candidate Jill Stein, who's actually doing much better now than she did in 2016. So yes, McMillan. Yeah, this is so ideologically. You got Bernie Sanders and Jill Stein being the only ones on the list, and just Jill Stein alone, the only progressive candidate on the list, that was enough to take out Pennsylvania, which was extraordinary. That's why I think, you know what, Donald Trump's probably going to pick up Pennsylvania. I think he's going to pick up Erie and Northampton counties, ideally. Not only that, but let's take a look at the Cornell West 2024 campaign and see the ballots he's on. Okay, he's not as expected. He isn't doing as better as Jill Stein. He's an independent. He's not from an actual party, but he is on some ballots like North Carolina. He's going to be a state we want to have him on. I believe. Oh yeah, okay. He's on the ballot in Georgia, but his votes will not be counted. Unfortunately, I think they should. We kind of want that. They could. He's on an automatic write-in. You can write in Cornell West in Pennsylvania, but the states that are green, he's officially on the ballot. And you'll see, okay, other than Virginia, North Carolina, he's not, and Wisconsin and Michigan, of course, he's not really of big and good use. And I think Cornell West will be cranking up some votes in Michigan for sure. But yes, this is what the satellite is saying, or the average is saying for Pennsylvania as we speak. Jumping to North Carolina, though, we're going to take a look at average-wise. North Carolina. Okay. 0.6. Democrats won the latest poll, but hey, guess what? They're having a hard time adding that in because the recent poll going for Kamala Harris is out of the margin of error. 3, which is 3. It's now 4. So the Democrats will go, yippee! The Bolin Finch group had Democrats win. Well, here's the thing. I'm happy they're not doing it, but we have these average groups. They're not adding it in. You'll see. They even increased it because yesterday, I want to believe it was at 0.3. Now it's at 0.6. They didn't include this poll because it's out of the margin of error. And that makes sense. Why do we need to include polls that aren't in the margin of error? Doesn't make sense. But yeah, 0.6. I would think, it's not really going to change from yesterday's or today's prediction. I personally think, well, this is honestly the average. I honestly don't. I always have to clarify. I do not think it's going to look like this. This is what the average is saying, okay? But I honestly think Scotland County will go for Trump at the end of the night. I don't know about this county. We'll have to see. But I think this county will go for Trump, as well as uh, maybe this county right here. Probably this county. Just taking a look at previous election results will basically tell you which counties have a good chance of going to Republicans. But yeah, I am very enthusiastic, mainly because of the third party said results. Yeah, just take a look. You can even check out Claudia Dela Cruz's campaign here too. I'm honestly more enthusiastic with Jill Stein. Then again, she is the more recognizable face out of the bunch. Let's see. Claudia, she's from Peace and Freedom. Okay, yeah, this is her ballot list, and yeah, you can write her in Pennsylvania. So as long as Jill Stein, and Jill Stein's in all the swing states, which is amazing. But yeah, if you take a look at Virginia, we have Dela Cruz, West, and Stein in Virginia. That really puts Virginia into play. I'm serious, and we can actually really kill it in Virginia. Wisconsin, same deal. She's in Wisconsin. I believe it. Yeah, I have no doubt that we're going to win Wisconsin. I mean, like, you have 3 left wing candidates, and you have a 2020 record. You have Biden winning the state by 0.7, and the pendulum always flings the other way. Add the candidates that are being turned off by Democrats going for Trump, plus the third party candidates that like Stein and West and Dela Cruz. That's basically supposed to go for Trump. I'm sorry. It's true. But yes, this is what I think it's going to look like right here for the average. But yes, we got our 2 Sunbelt states, Pennsylvania, North Carolina. So what do you guys think in regards to our video today? Let me know down below. And as always, I'll see you all in the next political episode.